I'll be the runner again.
Testing.
There's probably like 30 seconds of latency.
Okay. Mr. Disher, do you have the mic? Yeah, actually you do for them.
My name is Bob Disher. I'm the chaplain. So if you guys want to join me for my invocation. I don't do traditional invocations for everybody. I believe that it's more of a chaplain's minute, like a scout master or cub master minute. So today, a pastor asks an older farmer decked out in bib overalls to say grace for morning breakfast. Lord, I hate buttermilk, the farmer began. The pastor opened one eye and looked at the farmer, wondering where he was going with this. Farmer loudly proclaimed, Lord, I hate lard. Now the pastor was growing real concerned. Without missing a beat, the farmer continued, "And Lord, you know how much I don't care for raw white flour." Pastor once again opened his eyes, glanced over towards him, and looked at the room, saw that everybody was wondering what was going on. Then the farmer said, "But Lord, when you mix them together and bake them, I do love fresh, warm biscuits. So Lord, when things come together that we don't like, when life gets hard, when we don't understand what you are saying to us, help us to just relax and wait until you are done mixing. It will probably be even better than the biscuits." Amen.
Now, if you'll join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, everybody rise. Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Scout sign. Please join me with the Scout oath, law, and outdoor code. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God, my country, obey the Scout law, help other people at all times, keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. The Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. As an American, I will do my best to be clean in my outdoor manners, be careful with fire, be skilled in outdoors, and to be conservation-minded. 2. Thank you. Reason I hesitated was I almost started this Scout oath as an American. I almost went straight to. Okay, so everybody knows who everybody is pretty much, so we don't have to worry about that. Volunteers, we still need some unit commissioners. We have our district activities chair. That position is open. And we also always need district membership support. So please contact Bill Kohler. Bill, raise your hand. Ross Billows, I don't see him. He is our, what? He's not here. That's because I always need to talk to him. Tonight's agenda. So we have a recruiting night coming up. So Cub Scouts will be talking about that. And then after that, they will be talking about the blue and gold. Now, Scouts BSA, we will be talking about Flight to Eagle. And that will be for those of you that need to understand what you're about to be in charge of, getting done. And may you make your Eagle quickly. The special breakout session is not tonight because Mike Ober is not feeling well. So our safety moment. So let's talk turkey, or let's don't let the turkeys get us down. So turkey, you have to thaw your turkey to a temperature, get it unfrozen, but keep it underneath 40 degrees. Use caution when you're frying a turkey, especially outside or inside. You shouldn't fry it. Remember, all cooking surfaces, they need to be clean. So, and then keep children away from the food and the surfaces until everything's clean. And then ensure the turkey is cooked to a proper temperature. The proper temperature for cooking a turkey is 165 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't want it at 165 degrees centigrade. It doesn't work that well. And then your smoke detector should be in working order. And we just put our clocks back, so make sure your smoke detector and your carbon monoxide detector. Yeah, well, there were people that knew that it was time to dinner when they heard their mom's smoke alarm going off. So I think I've covered. Always wash your hands, utensils, cooking surfaces regularly. Turkey fryers, use extreme caution. This is probably the area where you actually hear about the most house fires is during this time. Because if you don't thaw that turkey out and dry it out, and you go to put it into hot oil, it's gonna, number one, you're gonna get burned from the hot oil. And number two, if you're doing it on your back deck or someplace like that, a lot of times if it falls, it can actually cause a fire. And and then leftovers, store them in the refrigerator within 2 hours of cooking, and freeze the food that you don't want right away within 2 to 4 days. Turkey only lasts about 4 to 5 days, actually. It doesn't last, and chicken, same thing. So if it's in your refrigerator after, if you're coming on a week, it's probably not any good. Let's see, driving to and from the feast, refrain from alcohol or any other intoxicants, drive safe, or in other words, have a designated driver. So you are the best gift you can give to your family for the holiday season. So we want you around. We need all our volunteers, don't we? The district calendar, we're going to be talking about it tonight, but you can find things in upcoming events. We're going to talk about them. District Derby, this is a ways away, but that will be April 12th. We also have the Clonderie coming up, and that is early bird registration is open through December 14th. It's not on the calendar, but what we'll do is we'll put it on the rolling calendar, and these will be, we'll talk about the calendar. So, yes. Oh, registration, Joe, when and where? This is what I was looking for. January 31st through February 2nd. It's at Reverend Ridge Campground and Golden Gate State Park. Oh, I like that place up in Blackhawk. So it's a good. Also, you had one quick one.
All right. Good evening. Those who don't know me, I'm Campbell. This is St. Luke's Direct, and St. Luke's wanted to let you know that they will be running a session of the Pray program. If you're unfamiliar with that, it's an opportunity for our youth to get their religious award if they are part of a mainstream Protestant church or non-denominational Christian church. This is the right program for them. They are running a 2nd and 3rd grade and a 4th through 6th grade class, and they also would like to let our 7th through 12th grade families know that there is also small group self-study kind of options available. I put these over there by the sign-in sheets, but the classes start on January 5th and go for 4 or 5 Sundays, culminating in Scout Sunday here, where they will be handing out the awards. If any of you haven't done this with your youth, and that is consistent with your faith tradition, I highly encourage it. It's been a great experience for both of my kids, and the church here is gracious to be offering this program. So that's it.
I don't need it. The other thing, let's see what we have. So calendar. Before we get to the outdoor trainings, a couple things. One, a lot of you that did scouting for food, thank you. But with all the collections and everything with the snowstorm, it's okay if you delayed it a week. Just let me know how well you've done, and I'll make sure that the numbers get in. Stop the Bleed also got canceled because of the snow, and are postponed, and it is now December 12th. So just so you're aware of it. These are the outdoor trainings for Baloo and Isles. The one in August is set to be around the Weeblerie, so to get more people. So just the registration will be open soon in Double Knot, but look for these. These are the 2025 ones. Wood Badge, it's time to sign up. This is Toby Williams' course, and we just did a training with them, John Strauss and I, this last week. So if you are in need of wood badge or don't know anything about it, look for somebody with this beads or the neckerchief that Greg's wearing, and we can tell you all about it. Order of the Arrow, December 7th, the 11th will be the holiday party, and then there's chapter meetings coming up. District executives, are you in the room? Hey, Evie, what we got?
We have a lot going on in Douglas County. We are trying to hit almost. Sorry. I keep thinking that I'm loud being someone from Texas and I keep being wrong.
That's because they're recording it.
That's fair. So we have about 50 schools we are trying to hit in Douglas County in the span of 3 days. It has been a lot in the last few weeks trying to process, get it all up. We have had some feedback from a couple of schools that have decided to opt out at the last minute. So if you're here as a pack, we'll be going over everything with y'all tonight. To all troop leaders in the room coming up with spring recruitment. We sent out an email about a month ago trying to set up meetings with your pack key threes sometime between then and January to start discussing what spring recruitment would look like, getting that on the book and making sure all of our boxes were checked off for everybody for the 5-star program. So if y'all have not as key threes for your troops responded to that yet, please do soon. We would love to get that on the book, start getting a plan with y'all in advance for spring, while we still have about 90 days time to start getting a good solid plan together with everybody. Outside of that, anything that y'all need help with at all, never be afraid to reach out. We answer our phone. That's it.
You can tell Evie's from Texas with y'all. Okay, the next roundtable will be December 10th. Cub Scouts will be doing pack annual planning. We'll be doing religious awards. Hopefully, Mike will be feeling better and he'll be here to talk about registration and renewal. But one thing about renewal is if you go on to into your my.scouting, it will ask you to renew. So it is now on an individual basis that you are renewing every year, but you still have other things to do with your troop. So that's the biggest change with that. And then the other thing, as Jared comes up to talk about the Big Rock, is we're cutting down on the announcements here, but if you look on the rolling deck, they're there. They will be on the website, and you can, from the Google Calendar, you can click on that and find them, I think. So Jared will be talking about that right now.
All right. Oh, I can just use the handheld one.
No.
Okay, so one of the things that we're trying to do, see if I can get where it's not going to blast me in the eyes, that we're trying to do is make it easier for you to find the events that are going on at the district specifically, and then for some of the stuff for council as well. So in that vein, we've created a district Google Calendar. So if you'd like, you can scan this right now. It'll take you to a view page for the district calendar where you can just go through and see all the events that we have set up. There's another link later if you actually want to subscribe. I've got a QR code for that. When you go to this one, if you don't have a Google Calendar already, you can still view this one without any issues. If you do have a Google Calendar, then you can also subscribe, and then it'll put all of these events on your personal calendar, so you can search for them, you can click on them and find more information and all that. Is there, I think I still see people taking pictures, so I'll wait. How's everybody doing? You guys good? Awesome. All right. So what you should be seeing if you scan the QR code is something very much like this. Do I get a laser? I got a laser. Nice. All right. So what you'll see is this is us right here. So District Roundtable. So you'll see a whole lot of events in here just about everything that we put on the rolling deck or anything that's in the announcement section on the main presentation will be on this calendar. We don't have everything at the council on here, but we try to get all the district level stuff and then other things that are happening, either if they're council organized, but they're happening in our district, or if they're things that are, apply to us for like Baloo training and IELTS training, things like that. For Wood Badges on here, District Pinewood Derby, all that kind of stuff is on here. So what you'll see when you click in is this is for this event. So what I'm trying to do with all of this is for all of our roundtable events, we're going to put in as far in advance as we can the YouTube live streaming link, so that if you've got parents in your pack or in your troop who can't make it here but who want to see this stuff, get that to them or share this stuff with them so that they can watch the live stream. We also, once we're done with this and we have all of our finalized presentations, we'll put a PDF version of the slide decks attached to the roundtable event. So then if you want to see all the events that are coming up and all the dates, you can just scroll through those. You can pass those out to your unit as well. So if we just trying to make that stuff as available to you as possible. I know every time we're going through, I see people trying to snap pictures of the slides. Hopefully this makes it easier for you to get that information to your people. This is an example of what we're doing for other kind of council or district events. So Range Master training, you'll see up at the top. I just grabbed the double knot link. So anything that has a double knot link, we're trying to put the double knot link in our own calendar so that you can just click on that and it'll take you there and you can get registered. And then I'm just copying and pasting all the description and everything else in here so you have as much info as possible. Yes, sir.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it. Stevie will do it. You're set for universal coordinates on. I think people don't know that's +7 from us.
Oh, okay.
So it shows as 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. That might not be as helpful. So reach out to me and I'll help you with that.
Okay.
It's just, I think it's a localized.
Setting in there? Okay, fair enough. So yeah, what you should be able to do, and something that you can't do right now, is if you are looking for something specific at the council level, the best solution that I've found on the council calendar is to export the whole thing to an Excel document, do a search in there to find the name of the event I want to do, figure out what date it's on, then go back to the calendar and find it. That's terrible. So now what you can do is you can just go in your own Google Calendar, put in a search box, I want to find Range Master training, I want to find Wood Badge, and then it'll pull those things up for you. Yeah.
So the really great thing about this too is if you have your calendar on your phone with the district calendar, you won't overbook stuff. Because it'll show up on your calendar and you're like, oh, I probably don't want to do this at that time because I've got my method. All right, thank you.
Yeah, so for planning unit events and things like that, we've got a lot of things coming up that we're trying to do as district events and things that are, more localized, stuff that people are doing in Parker, people are doing in Highlands Ranch. We'll put all that stuff on here so that you can see what's happening, so hopefully we double book less. All right, so if you would like to subscribe to the Black Feather District calendar, you can do that with this link. This will just pop it right in there. If you use Google Calendar, this will get you subscribed. All of this, as I said, will be attached to the link. And then for my pack leaders, my Cub Scout leaders, all this stuff, we'll put it into the Discord so that you can see all of this stuff in there as well. For troops, I think we'll probably be sending it all out. Wayne usually sends out the PDFs or whatever, so those will be available too. All right, does everybody have all the pictures that they need of that?
Okay.
I think I'm done. Thank you all.
This kind of exciting for us to have this because we get pretty confused with everything that's going on. There is one thing I did forget. How many of you are unit commissioners or commissioners? There is a commissioners college training coming up February 15th. It will be here, so that's exciting as well. So yes. Yeah. Yeah, they have been phenomenal for us. So I just want to let you know that. And with that, we're going to go to our breakouts. Yes, sir. Oh, don't forget to sign in. If,
So we have a sign each month, like you to go over there and put your name there and mark on November that you were there. And we keep track of that. Part of what it helps do is to earn your knots that you see a lot of the guys have. You have to be able to go to roundtables and stuff to earn your knots for dinner training, Scoutmaster and all that. So signing in really helps us keep track of everything and it'll help you do down the road.
so it's not meant for the parents that are here for tonight's training, but it is meant for everybody else. That helps the troop. So yeah, that does help the troop. So I always forget to do that. This is my first time actually printing them all out. So yes, sir. 12th, December 12th. I will fix that in the slides. Okay, December 12th.
It's on the calendar.
It's right on the calendar, but it's wrong in my, it's February, December 12th. See, I make mistakes every now and then. That's what happens when you're in Idaho when you're doing this. Okay, with that, what we're gonna do, yes. Oh, what we're gonna do is Cub Scouts breakout session will not be in this room. It will actually be over caddy corner on the hallway.
Follow me, I'll get to it.
He'll get you there. For the Scouts, BSA, and for the Flight to Eagle, that will be in this room. And Mr. Reynolds and Mr. Deneen will be doing that. So I'll take your thing back. And are we recording this as well?
This is live streaming and we'll post a recording after we're done. So if anybody wasn't able to be here, wasn't able to watch the live stream, we'll have the recording available on the district YouTube channel, which is another exciting thing that we're working on now.
Okay, so it's going to take me a couple of seconds here to do that. So if you haven't signed in, go ahead. And meanwhile, I'll have everything set up.
know you did.
How many of you are ready to become an Eagle Scout? You,
wish I were.
yeah, good for you. Okay. Parents, if your child is even in scouting, this is also for you. Okay. The story is going to go like this. All that paperwork that you do to become an Eagle Scout, and believe me, it is cut down from what it used to be. It's online. It's easy to correct. They keep making small changes to it so that you could add pictures and add decks to it. But right now, we're still using the 2023 version, okay? What this deck is going to help you do is kind of navigate how all this works. It's part of a partnership between the Scout and either the Eagle Advisor in your troop or your unit leader. Some of this falls on them as an adult to make sure that it is going in the right way, that you are successful, and that you have a good time with this. Okay? So let's go. All right? Select a project that you're passionate with, something you really like to do, not one that maybe someone assigns to you, and you go, something that you really want to get into. You got to plan, develop, and give leadership. The 3 keys. When the project book comes to us as the group that reviews projects for the district, we look at those 3. And that's just normal, okay? Review your ideas with your Scoutmaster, ensure that your project makes requirement number 1. I'm going to leave my deck here. Take a picture of it. That is on our website. You can get to all the information that you need at the latest vintage off of that website. It'll take you out to the national website for the workbook and the Eagle application and some of the definitions. Please, parents, scouts, go through this together so that you have an idea of what to expect. My son or my daughter had to go over their project again, even though it was approved and the district didn't approve it. Well, maybe it didn't really get to number 1, or that the project is so complicated that what you put in the initial, what I think I want to do, doesn't give the scout and the district rep, do you really understand what you're trying to do? Is it beyond your capability to grab onto that and make an Eagle project out of it without having leaders and adults do all the work for you, which means you lose part of that 1, 2, 3. That's why parents get involved in this. Read it. Start filling out the information. Meet the 5 tests. Opportunity for a project. Is it feasible? Is there something that I can really do? Are there any safety issues I got to be aware of? We cannot let people under 18 use mechanical saws, power tools of that. That changes every now and then. It's in the back of the guide to advancement as to what you can legally use so you don't hurt yourself. Action steps for further deploying are included, and you're on the right track. Just getting started. Review the completed project proposal with your Eagle advisor or project coach. They may suggest some changes or modifications. Okay. Now, All of the required approvals on page 8 are required before the district rep can sign it. That's the scout, the unit leader, the committee, and the beneficiary. Either way. But before the district approves it, it has to have those on that. And that's what it looks like. And let's see. Is there? Great tell.
Right above where you have page 8, there's a scout signature that they've read the
Oh,
proposal.
exactly.
So there's actually one more signature that the scout needs to sign prior
Yes.
to the unit leader and all the rest of them sign.
There are 5 here.
But these are the 5
that
are outside beyond the scout himself.
Thank you, sir. Exactly. Questions? Stop. Sometimes you get all excited and you want to move forward, or you're 17 and 11 months and you don't have the time. But it just comes right out of the advancement book. Stop. Okay? Get with us. We are both listed at on the Black Feather website under district advisors. That be, whoops, go back this way. And let's see, where is this guy? That be me. That be Dick. Okay. Here's where you can find us. Dick. And resources, Scott Advancement Eagle. Eagle. Okay. That's where we are. Contact your rep. That's my email. That's Dick's email. And say, I'm ready to go. What's next? And what I tell you to do, I'll reply back to you and another adult. So if you send it to either Dick or myself with just your name on it, I'm going to send it to Dick or somebody else. So we have adult on your email. If that's the case, please respond back to all of us. Okay? Yeah. I'm sorry? Of course. Almost definitely. Yes. Yep. Yeah, it's preferred.
Courtesy copy your parent or somebody.
Yeah.
Guardian, whatever, whomever you prefer. But that way, when I return, I will hit return to all, reply to all.
Yep.
Not only will the scout get the reply, so will you. So you'll know what I've said at the time. Also, if you want, I can give you I just soon I get a phone call also. I take phone calls all the time, so if anybody wants my phone number. Is it on the last page?
No,
We took them on?
I think we did. We'll look, we'll get to that point.
All right, okay.
My phone blocks if I don't know you, you go into the block arena.
Mine will ring and I'll answer it.
Mine just,
I answer them all.
I got too tired of the election, I just stopped them. Okay. Some common problems, okay? You start the process before your life rank. You'll be surprised. You're getting close, and you see a project that you really want to do, and you kind of get started, but you're not life yet, okay? It does not fulfill the requirements. Plan, develop, and give leadership. And that's a discussion point. And that's a discussion point that is live. If we see something that maybe you don't agree with, we talk. Okay? Oh, well, can you do this? Can you add a little bit of a turn to this part of the project where you can maybe add to that? Okay? We don't, I'm going to speak for Dick here. We don't just turn around and send them back. It's a conversation between the district representative, the scout, and a parent. This is why this is what we need to change. Tell me why you disagree or agree, so that we might send you back to have it done again, but it's not here, go back and do it on your own, okay?
One of the things that the plan develop, give leadership. The develop is your proposal. That's the proposal portion of the workbook. The proposal is, develop is the proposal side of the notebook. And once that's done and you're up to those signature page, please don't go on and start doing the plan. Come see Dan or myself or call and we'll set up an appointment. There's several reasons for that. One of them, make sure the project is within the requirements of for an Eagle Scout, but more, I will go through step by step on how to do the plan. There's a lot of things in there that I'll try to make things a little bit easier for you, and so will Dan. As you go, we'll go through the plan and how to do that and how to fill that in, and it makes things a lot easier for you. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I didn't get that. I'm negligent. I didn't bring my hearing aids today.
Okay, repeat the question. So when you come and get the signature on the proposal, so let me repeat it.
Call me and I'm on the south, call Dan, and we'll set up a time. We'll bring that proposal with the signatures, 4 signatures, and, or actually the 3 signatures, waiting for my 4th one. And I will go over the proposal. We'll talk about it. In all likelihood, we'll say, let's do it. Or we'll talk about what needs to be modified a little bit. Then I will go through how to do the plan and all the steps that you need to go from there all the way down until you get ready for your Eagle Border Review. I will go through all those steps with you and make sure you understand where you're going from here. Now, are you going to remember it all? Maybe, maybe not. But you can come back to these slides or pick the phone up and call me.
One other thing is, sometimes it might not be Mr. Reynolds or Mr. Deneen. They might assign somebody to do this. It might be another Eagle advisor within the district. But most of the time, Scoutmasters, at least I hope, because when I was Scoutmaster, I would actually call Mr. Reynolds and talk to him for a minute and just say, this is what the project that the kid wants to do, the scout wants to do. And I would get advice. So before you even proposed it, we had an idea what you were going to propose, so we could discuss it with them, so we knew too if it was a good project or not beforehand. A lot of times, at least I did that. No, before you even present it to the troop, a lot of times. So, right?
The main reason we want to be sure that the beneficiary, the unit leader, and the scoutmaster sign it first is, and I've run into this at one time or another. A scout went to the scoutmaster, and the scoutmaster says, "No, I don't think it's a good project." And then he came to me. And I said, well, it's not a real good project, but we could modify it a little bit this way and this way to make it an Eagle project. Well, he went back to the scoutmaster and said, oh, Mr. Reynolds says it's a good project. Puts me between the scoutmaster and all that, and I won't do it. I won't step on the scoutmaster's for one reason or another, for some reason, whether the discussion with the beneficiary and the scoutmaster, they wanted the project to go this way and the scout wanted it to go that way. And they were trying to come to an agreement, and then he tried to backdoor them. So I'm real concerned about not signing, or I won't sign it before the scoutmaster. That's
Exactly. Again, it's a conversation piece. It's a view that, oh yeah, it fills all those requirements. Maybe, maybe not, but we will help fix that up. I'm going to go way back to the beginning. When you go down and look at that second slide that has all the links to it, when you actually get to the link where you can actually download your workbook, you download that workbook, put it on your PC or laptop, whatever you're using, put your name on it, Dan's workbook version 1. This way, if something happens, you don't have to start over. If you get to the planning section, after it's been approved, it becomes version 2. So version 1 is still available, so you don't lose anything. Some of you guys and gals don't have it, are trying to download it from school. School normally doesn't let you download an off-site piece of device. They'll block it, okay? So be aware.
There's another thing, when you're working on the workbook and you decide workbook or your Eagle application, either one, any of these downloadable, fillable PDFs. After you've been working on it, you said, oh, I got to take a break, dinner time, whatever. When you stop, save it each time with a new name, version 1, version 2, however you want to save it with a new name. Because if you save it, My Eagle Project, and you come back to My Eagle Project, to save it the second time, My Eagle Project, it may or may not save that second time. So you may pull it up and say, oh, where'd all the work I did that's yesterday? I got to what I did the first day, but so save it with a new name. It'll save you a lot of heartache. Not saying it will do it every time, but I've seen it happen more times than not.
Yeah, it depends on which system you're using. I'm an Apple guy, not a mouse guy, so ours work a little bit differently. On the, can we go back? Oh, I can't. Right here on this page, most people actually sign it. The fillable program, when you get it electronically signed, sometimes it just locks it up. So what I tell the scouts and the parents, when you get down to the point where we have to sign it, have somebody sign it, and then you have 2 pages. I can sign that, and if you got 2 pages, we'll just keep them together. You don't have to get them all re-signed again. Yes. So I can sign it? Okay, where are we? Okay. Who are we? My wife asks that all the time. We're just a group of scouters. I have 4 that are up north being Highlands Ranch, part of Littleton, north side of Castle Pines. And what I'll do, I normally look at each project proposal, make sure that all the signatures are there, that you filled out the sheet that's got all your information on it, and that it really kind of fills in the 3 requirements. If not, before I send it out to the group, I might say, let's have a conversation with the scout and the parent. So maybe you're missing something here, then we'll get it going. And I put that out to the 5 that I have, and somebody will pick it up. If it's languishing after about 3 days, I'll take it. But normally I've got 3 people that are close by. I've got two ladies that are working with us. Works like a charm.
Dan's got 5, I've got 2.5. And one is traveling an awfully lot, so he's,
Yeah.
hasn't been used a lot lately. So primarily it's myself for the southern half of Douglas County. And I go all the way out to Agate into Monument.
Yeah. Answer any questions you have, and we offer some advice. Again, we review it with you, set up a meeting with the scout and the parent. I've had somebody say, well, my brother is 21, scout and the parent. Take time to talk with us. Reach out if there are any questions. You'll be surprised how many scouts show up without a paper and a pencil or recording on a device. You have our information, okay? If anything changes in your project, your beneficiary says, I want to do it this way, but I don't want to do it that way, and you think it's going to change and not fulfill one of those requirements, contact us immediately. Okay? It's not unusual that they see scouting coming and doing work as, oh, I could add on and maybe do something else. That's not required. We've signed off on it. Or if they change the project completely, let us know. It may still work, but let's be sure, okay? Well, it makes sense to obtain approvals in the order they appear. It's not required. We don't care if your beneficiary does it first, your scoutmaster and your committee chair before it gets to us, but those three are sanctum. Okay. Good old workbook. Here we go. Prepare step by step, and we can enforce it, a step by step of what's going to be done. And it makes your job easier, but it's difficult to do because it's the first time. I'm going to make a fence, and it's going to be 10 feet long. Okay? Now what? I'm not going to replace it, I'm just going to make a new one because that's what they need. Well, you have to figure out a step by step. How long is it going to be? How tall is it going to be? Am I going to put it in the dirt, put it in concrete, put it in something else? What kind of wood am I going to use? Am I going to use those kind of the details that we're asking you to do? Pictures and drawings help people that have never seen your project understand what you're doing. When you get to the board of review, and this is what it looks like before you start, that opens up everybody's eyes and says, oh, this really is an undertaking, what we're doing. Update the detailed costs as you go through. You guys all know how to use Excel spreadsheets yet? Okay. You go in and walk in through Lowe's or Home Depot and get an estimate of what the first cost is going to be. That's great. And as you go buy it, if you're all dressed up, Lowe's and Home Depot will give you a discount. If you might get somebody else to help you with money, and you keep track of all that, then you have an idea of what it's really going to cost you. Complete the fundraising section if you need to. If you're getting money from Yep, that's a part of the plan. Okay? That is part of the planning section.
On the fundraising section. The fundraising section, if you look at the top of the very top of the page, talks about that this is for raising funds and for getting materials. Raising the funds, you don't need to fill the fundraising application out if you're getting them from friends, family, enemies, like that. However, the council and I got this really reinforced a few months ago when I did the Scout Executive. Chuck. His son was out and I reviewed his project. We got to this point and he said, the beneficiary is paying for all of it, so I don't need to do this fundraising section. I said, that's correct. You don't need to do it for raising funds. But where are you going to get the materials? He said, I'm going to go to Home Depot and Lowe's. I said, you do need to do this. And the second part of this fundraising talks about where you're getting the materials. So you need to determine there. And unfortunately, on the fundraising application, it talks about getting donations from companies. That is one of the things that the council is incredibly concerned about. Of you going to Home Depot or Lowe's or a big box store and asking for a donation. They give scouting a nice donation every year. And what they don't want to have happen is them to say, oh, if I don't give the donation directly to the council, I can donate to each one of the individual scouts as they come through and maybe even save some money. So they want you to review that and ask the companies for discounts, not donations. So when you're talking about where you're getting the materials, the fundraising application is also applicable to how you're getting those materials, in addition to where you're getting the money.
I don't know if it's okay to ask this, or if it's when you're done with your Eagle project, what does the scout do with overage if they have extra money left over from the project?
That's on the last part of the document in your report. There's a section that talks about fundraising, your funding summary. And if there's money left over, the money goes to the beneficiary. Yeah, but that's where it goes. And there's a block, and I go over that with you when we get to the writing the report.
Everything that you do, you're doing for the beneficiary. So again, I need to raise $1,000 and I go GoFundMe page is popular, or I go ask grandma and grandpa, everybody, and all of a sudden I got $1,500, 500, the balance goes to the beneficiary to do whatever they want to do with it. All right. The fun part, you actually get to do something, okay? Take notes daily as to what's going on. You've all driven down Santa Fe. You live in this area. It's all tore up. You always see 3 guys standing around, and 1 guy working or driving the equipment. You're one of those 3 guys. You're the manager. We're asking you not to get your hands so dirty that you can't lead and manage. You do too much. Okay? You take notes, some things just go haywire. And you say, oh, I'll remember. And you get back home, something else is going on, you got a party to go to, homework, and you want to get back to that point, and you go, have somebody take pictures for you. Yes, sir, you want to take pictures?
What we did was, our daughter, who wasn't involved, but wanted to be there. She could. So a family member is great.
Yep. Yeah, they always want to come and help, depending on how involved they want to get. I take them outside and buy them a cup of coffee or go someplace else. Lead and answer questions. You're the leader, and you may not know. You may not know how to do something. You get to a point and it's not going as you planned. Ask. You've got adults there to do that for you. Just ask. Okay? Ask for advice. You've never done one of these things before. That's how you learn. Well, I tell the scouts when this all gets done, if this thing just falls apart, my infamous fence, next week it blows over, what did you learn from the project? What did you walk away with? Your beneficiary may not be too happy with you. You have to redo it, but it's a learning process for you. Complete the report. As much details and pictures as you can muster. You're going to be sitting in front of 3 or 4 people, a couple of which you may not know. And if you can show pictures and details in your write-up, it will help the conversation go smoother. 3 signatures are required. Yours, your beneficiary, and the unit leader. So part of the project book that you have the 5 signatures on the proposal, yours and the 4 of us, you've got 3 more here. You're done. Now the Eagle application. Again, this is where we go. I'll leave this out, take a picture of it, go online tonight and see you can follow it, okay? You can use Scout Book. I think most of the troops are using Scout Book today. If you have a merit badge that you finished right before you finished the application and it has not been put in Scout Book, hang on to that blue card or whatever it is today that's got all the approvals on it, because you're going to need it when you go down to the office. It works like a charm. You put your requirements in there, it gets updated, and the office sees it immediately. It's a live system. What'll happen, blue cards, a book. You're going to fill out the Eagle application. You're going to sign it. Your unit leader is going to sign it, and your committee chair is going to sign it. At that point, you should be ready to go downtown with your Eagle application, your life and mission statement, and your workbook.
I'd like to, after your unit leader and committee chair have signed it, before you go downtown, and it's more than just downtown, going out to the scout office for some of us is a pretty good hike. Before you go out there, you may want to give them a call and ask Jeanette if she would send you an email with what they have in their computer.
Good point.
Just had, in fact, it was a scout that was turning 18. He needed to get it all signed off and all that. Went up to the scout office and handed her his application, and the scout office had none, absolutely zero, none of his merit badges in the computer. They were using Scout Book. Now, how whoever within that troop successfully did it, he could see it on his Scout Book, but it never went anywhere. So it would behoove you to save yourself a trip from here all the way up to the scout office and all the traffic and everything else, and find out that something's wrong. You get it before you do that, and you can get it fixed before you head on up there. There was a real concern about that particular one. I don't know how they messed it up, and the troop messed Scout Book up, but they succeeded. And if you really want to succeed in screwing something up, use a computer. You can really do a good job.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to echo that. You might also want to ask your scoutmaster or your Eagle Advancement Chair or advisor within the troop. As a scoutmaster, I used to ask for that report and give it to the scout, and say, you know, it was my gift to them. Here's what you got. And use these dates. There might be a date that's, you think you got the blue card signed on the 15th and they wrote down the 18th. They go by what is in the scout office and at council, not what's on the blue card in that case. So you want your Eagle application to reflect what is on the advancement report. And that's why it's so critical to get that, because it makes everyone's life so much easier.
On your Eagle application, on the back side, there's a place right at your, if you're, you put in there on the right-hand side, it'll have the date you made life. Then the next area is the area of, talks about your leadership positions within the troop. It's very important that you put the earliest leadership position can be no earlier than the date you made life. Because it says right there, while a Life Scout. If you wanted to get kicked back from national, put a date in there that while you were still a Star Scout, and that will create a real problem when the application gets sent on to national, they'll kick it back. So that'll delay your getting your Eagle significantly. So be sure that when you look at the date leadership positions, a lot of scouts start in a leadership position. Let's say assistant senior patrol leader, and they started as a Star Scout. They made life, and they continued on as a assistant senior patrol leader. The date you would then put in there as the start date for your assistant senior patrol leader is not the actual date you started it, but that the date you became a Life Scout. Because none of the things, as he talked to you earlier, nothing that you did as a Star Scout goes on to your project or your Eagle application for leadership. So even if it's over 6 months. Yep. Yes, sir.
Could you discuss, so for my boys, you kind of move it, but this might be helpful for people. What should the ambition statement or purpose statement look like for the Eagle Scout kid? Yeah.
It's really up to the scout.
It is.
It is a free-form note that the scout writes what they think of at the age they are going forward, how maybe scouting has impacted them or those kinds of things, but it's theirs.
Talks about it's asking you for something that's talking about your ambition and life purpose. One of the things that we're looking for there is, first of all, you're coming up, what do you think you want to do after graduation? It'll all change, but where do you want to go on to college? Do you want to go to, what do you want to do? And let's just say you either go to school, go to college, you want to go to a trade school. Let's just use a trade school, for example. Go look at that trade school requirements for admission. They've got admission requirements. Those admission requirements automatically become your goals that you need to complete between now and the time you're ready to go on to school, whether it's whether if you want to go to college, look at what their academic requirements and all of that are. Those become part of your goals and goals that you need to set. It's a proven fact that people that write their goals down have an 87% better chance of achieving those goals. This is an ideal time to write those goals down to see what you want to do. You want to go to college? Okay, great. You want to get a scholarship? Fantastic. Most of the schools today, and I haven't run into one yet that doesn't push any of our scouts to start looking at scholarships before halfway through their senior year. After 25 years of teaching at DU, I can tell you one thing, that is way, way, way too late to start looking at scholarships. Most scholarships that I've seen have what I call a gotcha clause. One of them that I know particular says you have to have 3 years of foreign language. Great, 3 years, I've got that. Then in parentheses beside it says 2 years of one and one of a second. If you're halfway through your senior year and you don't have that second foreign language, that scholarship is not available to you. It was an academic scholarship with a 3.5 GPA minimum. Most academic scholarships are a lot higher than that. This scholarship wasn't looking for somebody with a very high grade point average. They wanted a more rounded individual. Two different foreign languages. They had several different math courses they wanted. They wanted you to have an equivalent of a civics course. Oh, some of the schools don't even teach that anymore. But they have different courses that you can take. They were looking for an individual that was more well-rounded than somebody that was very focused on this foreign language and this mathematics and going down that line. So that's one of the things that we're really looking at. What do you want to do from here on? Where are you going? How are you going to get there?
Just quick question. What year are you in school? 8th grade? Okay. How about you? Okay, freshman in high school. Then this applies. My daughter is 3 years older than my son. She was looking at colleges. I asked my son, where do you want to go? He said, I want to go to Colorado School of Mines. So I'm sitting there on my computer, my laptop. I opened up Colorado School of Mines. I opened up the entrance criteria. I showed it to him. He looked at it and said, thanks for ruining my day. I turned back to him and said, no, you're smart. You can do this. You just now you know what you have to do. So if there is a college that you want to go to, this is life now, beyond the Eagle. Well, if there's a college that you want to go to, look at what the entrance criteria is, and then try to go beyond it. And if you think it's too easy, maybe there's a better college out there for you. By the way, my son went to Colorado School of Mines. So, you as parents, encourage, work with them. But I want you to know that you can do it. You're smart, and you're smarter than you think you are. So, ambition, purpose statement. Just so you know, when you hand in everything, that is what you bring to the office as well.
Yep.
I was sitting there collecting one of my Scouts Eagles to bring home because I was in the area, his Eagle certificate. And there's a Scout there and he goes, I was never told to write one. I didn't know I had to bring it with me. Everything was done but that. I was about to witness a meltdown. It was Goldie at the time that was there. What happened was a couple of us Scouters pulled the kid aside and said, listen, you can rewrite this, but right now you need something for this. So we helped that scout with some ideas. One of the things I did as an Eagle advisor in my troop was I actually had a list of ideas for the ambition purpose statement and said, this is some things that you can put in there just to help the scout. But I just want you to know, it does need to go with you when you go to get the application.
And that's a council requirement. So the council says that's what they want to see before they sign off on the Eagle application. Yep.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. And you're in 8th grade? It'll apply to you right away. Right, time flies. What's next? Okay. Board of review. The board of review is a place that young people forget their name. They get nervous. They're not accustomed to talking to people that they don't know. And I can't tell you how many times they just freeze. The only thing I tell them, I'm not going to jump on your chest and do CPR. So take a break, okay? 99 times out of 100, the scout knows the oath law, the outdoor cord, yada, yada, yada. But they get nervous, okay? Who should be on the board of review and who should not? Unit leaders and assistant leaders will not be on the board. Okay? Parents, guardians, and relatives shall not be on the board, except if you have a child of special needs and they require or request they have a parent or a guardian with them. That's doable. It's done. It is really up to the district rep. I encourage that, especially if they're new. You can sit in the corner and listen, but no talking. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And that goes right there, right like that. Okay. So, Scout A really wants to have this friend that he knows be on the board. Nope. Nope.
I wanted to point this out, that the parents, guardians should not have an active role in selecting the board. That should be, that the scoutmaster or the Eagle advisor from the troop should set that board up. One of the things that I ask for, I don't know how Dan does it, I'll ask the troop to please find 2 people that know the scout somewhat and 2 people that don't. Keeps the board honest, but asking for 2 that know them, 2 that don't, plus myself, I shoot for 5 people. You can have as many as 6 if you want. If they want an extra person, that's fine. But if I try to get 5, life gets in the way of some people every now and then, and somebody all of a sudden can't be there the last minute. We're down to 4. 4 is still an excellent board. You can do it with 3, but I personally think 3 is just a little bit too thin. But going for 5, get 5, great. Get 4, great. You're in the running. That's what I ask for.
But that is up to your unit leader. And if it's the committee chair who's doing that, it's up to them to set that for you.
who do you not want on the board? And it was kind of interesting when I did that, because he said, well, I don't want Mr. P. I said, why not? And he said, well, on the Clonderie, I threw a snowball and it hit his son in the forehead. And on Philmont, I accidentally cut his older son with a knife. And I said, okay. So I went to the parent of the two boys and I said, what do you think? He goes, I'd love to be on his board. So you should have seen that scout's face when he walked in and there he was sitting there. And he went, oh no. He was his biggest advocate for him during that. So you might not realize that somebody you think doesn't care for you actually does. There's a place in their heart and they're like, yes, they want you to succeed. So don't get nervous. And we did have a situation on one of your boards, Dick, that kid, the project write-up wasn't phenomenal and it was upsetting you. And Mr. Wortman was there and he started asking questions about the project and what the scout did and everything, and just got the kid talking about the project. And all of a sudden everyone went, oh my gosh, he really worked hard on this project and did all this and that. And so get involved with when they're asking questions about your project. When you get to this point, go into detail, have fun with it because you worked hard on it and that will show your leadership with what you did.
Heck, when you're at the board of review and somebody asks, oh, talk about a project or something like that, it is up to you to introduce yourself and explain yourself to the people that you don't know. Practice that in school. Go to see an advisor, somebody that you need help with or not, and go to an adult. Start learning how to talk to them. It'll make life a lot simpler for you going on. Trust me. Okay. I had to wait till I was in college before I did that. Okay. Black Feather District requires a district rep be sit on the Eagle Board of Review. And therefore, one of us must be on the board. And we get invited. Okay. And that's it.
Just because of my experience as a scoutmaster, with scouts at Eagle, do you have any suggestions on, as far as projects go, on things to avoid? That typically don't necessarily work well as Eagle projects. I'm thinking of collections.
Collections.
And it can be done, but that kind of.
Collections are, first of all, a collection in of itself is not an Eagle project, and it'll tell you that in the workbook. Let's just say, and the one that I'm thinking of, a scout wanted to do a collection for library, and he collected books. The actual collection of the books was not really an Eagle project because people went out and collected books through community. All well and good. If you were the leader and you asked me to go down Main Street of whatever town to collect books, you're not leading me. I'm off by myself. You have no control over what I'm doing. I might be just kicking a can down the road, doing whatever I want to do. You're not actually giving me leadership. So they got these books and I said, talk to them. I said, what are you going to do with the books once you get them? Oh, I hadn't thought of that. I said, here's where your leadership comes in play. You need to take every one of the books, open it up, make sure that somebody hasn't written something inappropriate in the margins, stack them up as far as what different types of books they are. Make sure somebody hasn't put some papers in there that aren't good to be put in there. The scout went through all these books and he found one book that had 2 nice paper bookmarks. Both of them happened to be $100 bills that somebody had used as bookmarks. Luckily, they were able to figure out who it was and got the money back to the people. But his actual project was what he was doing with all these books. He took the books, the 7,000 books that they picked up. He went through, he categorized them, got them in their order by all of that. That was the leadership part of it.
Throw out an example of how he did it. We had an Eagle Scout candidate that did a collection of soccer stuff. But the project itself wasn't the collection. He put on a clinic for youth using that stuff and then gave it to the youth. And that was really the collection wasn't the premier part of the project.
So if a collection is going to be done, what are you going to do with what did he do with this collection of soccer stuff? He did a clinic. Now, what really gets difficult is if you decided you wanted to do a collection for a abused women's home, and you go out and you collect women's health stuff, what are you going to do with it before you give it to them? Kind of a difficult thing to figure out what to do with. Those become very, very difficult to turn into a viable Eagle project. What can you do with these items once you've collected them?
Not you, but the rest of your team.
How are you going to lead people in doing something
Exactly.
with the project?
Yes.
So collection projects are very difficult to turn into good Eagle projects. Not saying they can't be done. But some of them take a little bit more, sit down and do a little bit of brainstorming on how we're going to get it. I'm not saying that some of them aren't excellent projects that have a very good benefit for the community. In the past, a few years ago, blood drives were not usable. They are now. And we have a very specific way, and if somebody decides they want to do a blood drive, we have a very specific process within, it's a council level process that on the advancement committee at the council, we put together guidelines to do a blood drive. Blood drives take time. They're not a blood drive not a project that can be done in a matter of a few weeks or maybe even months. We recommend that the scout not be any older than 17 years, 3 months because of timing and getting everything to go correctly for blood drives. So it can take up to 9 months to get one of those done. Not a simple task.
Two other things. We talked about they've talked about the board of review. You're going to have a board of review. Ask how many people are going to be on it. And then you hear there's going to be 5. That's how many binders are projects that you want. You don't want to come in with 1. You want everybody in that board of review to have your project, a copy of the workbook. So that's 1, including pictures and everything if you can.
Only 1 needs to be with pictures.
Oh, only 1? Okay.
Pictures can be passed around.
Okay.
But the workbook itself, everybody needs on the board needs to read it. So in an effort to not make a board of review multiple hours long, it's important that we have more than 1 copy of that workbook. Letters of recommendation, get them out early. Adults, don't put you as number 1 thing to do and they come home Friday night after a long week of work, you're not number one on their list to write a letter of recommendation. When there is a online, on the council webpage, there is a list, and he had the list of the workbook, the application. There is also a letter of recommendation cover letter. So when you ask, I'm going to pick on teachers because teachers are so easy to pick on. You ask Mrs. Jones to write you a letter of recommendation. This cover letter has 4 questions for her to answer. One of them is, how has she observed you following the tenets of the Scout Oath and Law? Do you think Mrs. Jones knows the Scout Oath and Law? Probably not. It's on that letter of
It's on
that cover letter. It makes her writing the letter of recommendation much easier. Additionally, when you put Mrs. Jones on your list of people, and there's 5 to 6 name people that we're looking letters from. You're getting close to your board of review. Give a copy of your application to your scoutmaster or whoever's setting the board up, or whoever gets your letters, so they can say, I got Mrs. Jones' letter. Good, check mark. A week before the board of review, I don't have Mrs. Jones' letter of recommendation. He contacts you, I don't have Mrs. Jones. It is not your responsibility to bird dog those letters of recommendation. It's the responsibility of your scoutmaster or committee chair, or whoever's setting the board up.
On those envelopes, put something indicating who it is, because then when they come in, you know who you have.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. On this letter, it says who it goes back to in the letter form. So who sends that letter out? You can hand it to them, but give it to them with an envelope and give it to them with a already stamped. Give it to them that way, and on it, you put educational reference, religious reference.
The envelope will be already addressed to whomever within the troop gets the letters. On the back, just put your name, Eagle reference letter, education, or whatever it may be. Makes life a lot easier for the troop, and they can do that. Now,
You do not get those back, by the way, after the board of review. You do not see them.
From what I understand, you can ask if they want it destroyed, or if they want to give it to the.
you're about 4, 5, maybe 7 years
Too late.
too late. That used to be,
Yeah.
that
And I
was,
wanted my letters to go to the kids, because I wanted them to have the love day to be able to read it.
that used to be an option. It is no longer.
Stop.
The
other thing on teachers, okay? If you, and it's one of the places that they ask you to get a reference from. Teachers take holidays just like us. So if you're on a time crunch and you want your teacher to do a referral and it's May, you may really want to go in and talk to that teacher and how important it is that that teacher get that going and put it in the mail. Because by the end of May, they're gone to the 4 winds, and we'll see you in August.
I had a bird dog teacher when I was the Eagle advisor. I knew who the person was, and my kids actually had that person as well. I went to his office and actually talked to them and said, could you do it in the next week? Because this is when the Eagle Board of Review will be. So I actually went through everything, and it was during COVID. And I made sure that it was done. But I want you to know, the Scoutmaster or the Eagle advisor of the unit, they should know what they have to do. And if they don't, they should talk.
letters quite often become a long pole in the tent getting ready for the board of review. We'd like to get as many as we can. Parent letter, religious letter, education letter, and possibly 2 more. And if you're working, one from your employer. The letters that the board can take and use are the letters that the names that you put on the application. Let's say that we're up within a week of the board of review and Mrs. Jones hasn't written a letter. And you happen to know this young lady, and she turns to you, can you write a letter of recommendation for me? Yes, and you get a letter written right out and get it into them right away. On the board, we start looking down, Mrs. Jones isn't there, but Mrs. Smith is. I can't take Mrs. Smith's letter because it has to be on the application. Trick on that is the first page of the application has no signatures. You can run it back through your computer and change Mrs. Jones to Mrs. Smith on the day of the board of review, and it'll match the letters and it'll all go through just fine. So have the scoutmaster now that make sure that they know that the letters that they have are the letters that you requested. And if they're not, make it so they are. Make a minor adjustment to the front of that application. No big deal, but it makes things fly a lot easier. Any questions? Thank you very much. Dan, thank you very much for your.
Thank you, guys. Okay.
Thank you, guys. So that concludes tonight. Unless we want to do as a great scoutmaster of all scouts. But we are running late. And we have to vacate by 9 o'clock, so we want to make sure we have to shut down stuff. 628. You're in 316, did I see? So Castle Pines? Cool. Thank you both for being here. It means a lot to us that the scouts come. So, and you are going to do great. So hopefully you learn more than just about the Eagle Project tonight too. Thank you. Thank you.